Now, one of the benefits of this year, and one of the benefits of your hard work and the leaflets you've been putting out and the new websites we've got and everything else, one of the benefits is that our party membership is up by 50% in the course of the last year. So UKIP is booming, UKIP is growing, and we're attracting a lot of very interesting people. Defections from Conservative councillors, defections from Labour councillors, defections from independents, people from across the spectrum joining the party. And I want to introduce you this morning to another new member, somebody who is joining UKIP, somebody who up until now has done a lot to support the UKIP cause, done a lot to support the Eurosceptic cause. But today, and it's a brave thing, in front of all of you, he has decided to come out. I'm sorry, I said I was going to do that, didn't I? Patrick O'Flynn is the chief political commentator on the Daily Express, and he's known to all of you. And he's a bit of a hero within the Eurosceptic movement because without him, I think there's no doubt that the Daily Express would not have taken that move to be the first national newspaper to advocate that Britain leaves the European Union. Patrick's hand in that was very, very important indeed, and we thank you enormously for doing that. Now, I know you're keen to get up here, but hang on, I haven't finished just yet. So Patrick's hand in that was very, very important. And I know something, he is liked, admired and respected across the lobby. People like him. He's a journalist of integrity. He's a journalist of principle. And he's become a fully paid up member of the UK Independence Party. And for the first time today, he will address us as a UKIP member and tell us what his plans are. Could you please give a huge welcome to Patrick O'Flynn. Okay, all right, very good. That's a reasonable build-up. It's a good start, you know, so let's get on with it. Where do I sit?
Wow, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Morning. When I had the honour of addressing this conference a year ago, albeit in a slightly smaller hall, it felt big enough at the time, I began by using a famous Frimley phrase. Now, seeing as the glitter ball is there, we're in the biggest hall, I believe the place where the World Darts is held, and this might even be the hockey and the dartboard behind me. I can't resist beginning with the same phrase again. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's play darts. And my goodness, isn't that what UKIP has been doing in the intervening 12 months, with the faces of David Cameron, Nick Clegg and Ed Miliband on the board and now riddled with holes. As Nigel spoke to you about a few moments ago, it's been an absolutely amazing 12 months for UKIP. Those parliamentary by-election results, the brilliant local election results, and at long last the media and newspapers other than just my own have been forced to take note and sit up and realise that UKIP is a mainstream party and a fast-growing party, not a minor party, not a fringe party at all. Now, this year, I've moved from being a well-wisher and Fleet Street champion of UKIP to being one of you, and one of nearly 10,000 new members this calendar year alone. It's become fashionable to say that the appeal of UKIP is no longer about getting Britain out of the EU. But while there are many other attractions to UKIP, many other fine policies, I have to say that for me, the great patriotic cause of getting our country back, of becoming a self-governing nation once again, remains the overwhelming priority. Now, I've thought deeply about my own contribution to this preeminent patriotic cause, this central change in our politics from which so many other beneficial changes can flow. And without blowing my trumpet too much, because probably Nigel blew it too much a moment ago, I think I could look back on this time and say I made a difference by helping make the Daily Express Britain's first better off out national newspaper. I believe I have done something to change the media climate towards the idea of leaving the EU and towards UKIP itself. So I could sit on the sidelines and congratulate myself for being ahead of the game on this one, as other political commentators gravitate towards my own position. But I have to tell you that securing and then winning a referendum on getting out remains a massive political challenge. And I've concluded I do not want to, and indeed couldn't bear to look back in decades to come and have to tell my grandchildren, I'm sorry, but we lost and I could have done more. I want to be able to tell them to be proud of their sovereign nation, of its magnificent past and its exciting future, and say, we won and I played my part. So I've come to the view that my biggest contribution over the period ahead could be, as a UKIP MEP, fighting full-time alongside Nigel as part of his team to free Britain from the embrace of the undemocratic European superstate. So I'm going to try and persuade you of that in the weeks and months ahead. Now, there's a fellowship between us all in pursuing our great cause, and each must play his or her own part, and a full part, if the goal is to be secured. And I'm reminded of J.R.R. Tolkien's Fellowship of the Ring. Only our mission is not to throw a ring into the burning fires of Mordor, but to return the EU's circle of stars to a place where the sun doesn't shine. Now, before the media get any ideas, and it does feel funny for me to refer to the media as a separate entity from myself, let me say I'm not actually likening Mr. Barroso to an orc, or Herman Van Rompuy to Gollum, although now one thinks of it, there is certain physical resemblance. But I am saying the mission being spearheaded so brilliantly by Nigel Farage and by UKIP is just as noble a cause as that of Frodo and Gandalf. And I know I play my part. I don't know whether I can play the part of communications wizard or supporting hobbit or perhaps cantankerous dwarf. I rather fancy myself as the elfin archer, actually, but I don't think I've got the cheekbones for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, whatever lies our opponents try to spread, this is not about little England, it's about Great Britain. It's about a confident global trading nation that can sell to the sunrise economies of the Commonwealth as well as to the stuttering ones of the Eurozone. It's about a nation in charge of its own borders and its own destiny, its laws made by Parliament on behalf of the people and not in Brussels at the behest of the Eurocrats. I have not the slightest doubt that it's Nigel and UKIP and all of you in this hall that forced the Prime Minister into offering an in-out referendum in the next parliamentary term. After all, I heard Mr. Cameron often enough in the House of Commons telling his own MPs that a referendum would be a bad idea. He didn't want to make the pledge, but he was forced to by the application of the UKIP thumbscrews. So let's put Miliband on the UKIP rack next. and then reserve the Iron Maiden for Mr. Clegg. After all, they do say you should take care of business before pleasure. And when the referendum comes, as it will, I don't want to be supporting or even tolerating a party led by someone who wants to keep us in the clutches of Brussels, but a party that will fight with every fibre of its being to get us out. I may be a new boy, but I feel today that I have come home. So thank you very much.
Well, that's tremendous. Thank you, Patrick, and welcome on board in every way. And thank you for putting yourself forward and making that absolutely massive career-changing commitment. On behalf of all of us, thank you to Patrick O'Flynn. Thank you. There's only one thing that worries me slightly about him, and it is a concern that I've got. Listen, when it comes to Van Rompuy, all right, I'm the one that dishes the insults, not you. Even I wouldn't dare to compare him to Gollum, I've got to tell you. We've caused some very serious, seismic earth tremors in the body politic this year. But as we look ahead to next year, we can do even better. There is absolutely no reason that we cannot, in the European elections, in the late spring of next year, there is no reason at all, and it's my ambition, I want UKIP to come first in the European elections next year and to cause an earthquake in British politics. That's our goal. But there's more to it than that, because on the very same day that people will go out and vote in the European elections, they will also be going out to vote in unitary and district council elections, including, of course, London this year as well. In fact, there'll be nearly 5,000 seats up for grabs at the end of May next year on those local councils. We managed to not only to win nearly 150 county council seats this year, we were also second in nearly 900 county council seats this year. In fact, we were second in more seats than any of the other parties. Just imagine what we could achieve on the same day that we win a European election. We wouldn't be talking, would we, about winning 150 seats? We'd be talking about winning a vast number of seats, and that is what we've got to do. And here in the South East, we've roughly the same number of seats up next year as we had this year. There are 579 unitary and district council seats within the South East counties that will be contested next spring. And so the call comes out again. Now, I know that some of you who've been in UKIP a long time will think that I'm some sort of rerun of a First World War general, urging you all to go over the top. And in the past, when I urged you to go over the top, we got pretty shot up and very often didn't have much to achieve from it. But this year, you saw the results. And next year, we could achieve some absolutely fantastic results. And I want the call for candidates starts today. It starts today, and those of you that want to help us really create this earthquake next year in every way we can, I want you to sign your names in the foyer. The tables are out there, the people are out there, and if you feel you can help us next year in those local elections, then make that commitment to do it today. Those with very overactive Facebooks need not apply. I know it's the party chairman's job, but I just thought I'd re-emphasise it. Actually, again, I'll refer to that. You know, half a dozen people caused us embarrassment, but when you think about it, given that we have 1,740 people out there, they were a pretty good lot. Whose mic is that? Well, I'm covered in microphone. I'm actually wired up here, so one of them's going wrong. So that's really what we've got to do. We've got to win significant numbers of seats at local level. Think how the Liberal Democrats, who'd been down to a dozen seats in Parliament, but got up to over 60 seats in Parliament, did it. They did it, and think of parts of Hampshire, where they did it. Areas that had previously been safe Conservative constituencies. They did it by building up a gang of district and county councillors. They did it by breaking the perception that at local level it was a wasted vote to vote for the Lib Dems because they couldn't win. And if the electors in a parliamentary constituency think you're in with a chance, then you are in with a chance, because it's all about perception. So let's win across the southeast and in the rest of the country too. Let's win significant numbers of district and unitary seats. Let's bolt that on to the existing structure we've got for the county councils. And then let's work out which are our best target constituencies for the general election of 2015. And let's box clever. Let's throw the kitchen sink. Let's target like crazy for 2015. And let's make sure that this party achieves a decent representation in the House of Commons in 2015. If we get it right next year, if we get this right next year, and we've got momentum behind us, we will be a significant force in the House of Commons in 2015. And I think that perception about UKIP has already begun to change. We proved on May the 2nd that we can win and win big under the first past the post electoral system. And we're also breaking down the counter-argument that is put out against UKIP. You see, here in the south of England, the voters are told, if you vote UKIP, you'll split the vote and we'll get Labour. And in many parts of the north of England, the voters are told, if you vote UKIP, you'll split the Labour vote and you'll get the Tories. And these are the arguments that are put out by the other parties to try and stop people from voting UKIP. But what we saw on May the 2nd was actually, if you go out and vote UKIP, you get UKIP. Make no mistake about it, you'll read speculation in the press about deals. You know, who am I going to do a deal with? Can I make it absolutely clear? My priority is not actually to do a deal with anybody. My priority is not to abolish UKIP and to hand it back to the same political parties that gave away our independence, liberty, democracy, freedom and control of our borders in the first place. That is not going to happen. UKIP is a real, genuine, vibrant force in British politics. We are here to stay, and I think far from us now being the party that's against something. What we're going to have to do in the run-up to the 2014 elections and in the run-up to the 2015 elections is we almost don't need to tell people anymore what's wrong with Brussels. They've worked it out. We almost don't need to tell people we have a problem with immigration control. They've worked it out. We almost don't need to tell people that the Labour government and this coalition are bankrupting us, that the deficit is not under control, and that effectively what we are doing is stealing money from our grandchildren. They know that. We don't need to tell them that social mobility is the lowest it's been for 50 years in this country, because they know that actually the rarefied 7% who get private education are now dominating the whole country. They know these things. No, what UKIP needs to be is not a party any longer that tells people what's wrong with this country. UKIP needs to be a party that tells everybody what could be right about this country, and leaving the European Union, ladies and gentlemen, won't solve our problems, but it will give us the ability to solve our problems. It'll give us back our democracy. It'll give us back our self-confidence. And I believe that our collective efforts thus far in 2013 have brought that great day ever closer. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, all right. Are we on time? Perfect time. Really good, really.